We talked about how confident they were coming into that. So for Giants, you know, we talked about them having nothing to lose coming to the third map. They've got to be feeling confident.
Holy smokes.
To the Yoru?
Yeah, we're gonna get double duelists on both sides. We'll have the Raze Yoru, assuming it's locked in, on the side of MIBR, and then for Giant X, the Raze Waylay.
I really like this.
Waylay. I love the Waylay, and I'm glad to see the Cypher's not out. Thank God for that. We get to see activated Bastarda. I mean, we haven't seen it in any of the maps in this series so far, but this is her comfort. This is her duelist role.
Dan, Potter loves the Waylay. Your thoughts on the Waylay Raze together?
I mean, it's impossible not to like it, especially with how explosive we've seen so far Smurfette be alongside Ava that we talked about early on, how incredible she is individually. Also, but I mean, I don't want to underestimate that other side with the Raze and the Yoru. It's a standard one that we've seen in this map over and over again. Yeah. And it's a standard as well for this team, specifically for MIBR. So as teams, as both of these players are starting to heat up a little bit, I still have confidence in MIBR and Giant X to make this a close map.
Are we expecting the Waylay to primarily be the one to dive in and then just get info and get out?
For sure. I mean, that right now, the sexy play of Waylay is to just dive in, drop that bubble, recall right back, and then your second duelist is right there following up with the util to punish. So yeah, I think the double tag team of just diving in there, it's going to be a lot of pressure for MIBR to handle.
Well, we're going to have an opportunity to see that exact thing play out here in just a few moments. So for the very last map and for the very last time tonight, Mitch, Tom, take it away.
One last time, it's time to kick off this map, and it is split. I'm delighted that we've ended up here, Tom, and the fashion that we got here couldn't have been more exciting. From GX on map 1, it would have been a tight first half and a dominant second, with a dominant second from them in the second half of Abyss 2. Then it'd been 13-11. We really had to come here to split the difference between these two teams.
Yeah, it's always one of the sickest maps in the pool to end on. I feel like it probably has some of the highest hit rate for OT, but also the fact that we got both teams now switching up to a double duelist as well, and one of them being the Waylay for Ness, who, if you've not been following Ness for a long time, back in the day, she was one of the best Jet players you're ever going to see. But I think the only reason she ever switched off duelist was because Smurfette was one of her closest friends and also a really sick duelist as well. So the fact that we now get probably one of the longest standing duos as players together, playing a double duelist together while Ness is calling, I'm so excited to see what they're going to cook. But then at the same time, Bastarda has been unreal when she's played the Yoru. So I think this is going to be a nasty map of Valorant.
I expect nothing less. Early fight towards B main sends just a one-for-one trade. Damage done onto Toki, who barely managed to survive that, but the orb will be claimed nonetheless. And MIBR's tactic here was to make noise on B, but send the players to the A site slowly and sneakily, and it has worked wonderfully. They have got full control, a plant. You know, Melissa's very far away, but not needed for now. And look at this deep spot they've taken towards the spawn. GX have to be so careful on the way back in.
It's normally a position where you have some form of expectation of, but it's also that long wraparound coming back in from Melissa. Like, they have got both sides of the map sort of locked down, and I feel like this is a nasty trap that Toki is going to be walking into. SRN still hasn't been spotted. She knows there's a deeper player, but Sarah's done very well on the other side. So I feel like it's almost going to be swings and roundabouts, and Toki is just sort of playing with the remaining two. She knows where they are, and somehow has managed to live a lot longer than expected. Sayori, though, has done well on the site, at least buying a little bit of extra time. This nade needs to do damage, and maybe it'll do just enough. It will! It has denied the defusal. SRN with a last-minute dunk for the Red Bull clutch.
And absolutely nothing has changed since map 1 and 2. That's good to see. This game is pure lunacy.
That was like a cross-court throw in a basketball game. It's like, I've got 1 second to throw. What an insane play from SRN right at the end. And I was worried for them because I think that the fact that Sarah so easily killed off the other flanker put so much pressure on Sayuri, who did fantastically well, but you still needed that nade to save the day.
A well-placed piece of utility has netted MIBR the opening, the pistol round, but opening pistols seem to be somewhat of a, well, pistols seem to be somewhat of a curse. Half the time you end up losing the follow-up, and at least based on what we've seen so far, in this series. Whether it will be the same or not, well, I'm doubtful. On the defensive side here, the Classics grouped up in heaven, and they expected that fight to be much closer than it was. Lisa, easy triple, gets out with 20 HP. Nothing for GX in terms of advantages, because they're not going to get a fight until Lisa, until they've picked off the rest of the squad, and as you can see, that's looking pretty unlikely.
Spike planted.
It's definitely felt like at times these second rounds have been a bit of a curse, but not this time. Very, very clean from the side of MIBR. Not looking to give their opponents anything in that second round. And well, now this is where you see that purchase come into play, of course. Both these teams have definitely shown that they can have stellar attacks. And this map is likely to be no different. It was the same for GX as well, so I think this half may be about getting as many rounds as they can, especially with that double duelist now coming into play. But for the side of MIBR, it's almost getting back to regular programming if they can continue what they did in the last match.
Oh, Sarah's gotten there just in time. A second later in that fight, may well have been a death sentence. That nade, though, has sent Sarah right into Melissa. Down to a sliver of health, but it's enough to stay alive as the cross comes in on mid, but it's spotted. That was a very necessary break of the Boombot. Almost taking the kill and doing lots of damage, and Sarah's just confident enough to keep on swinging. A triple kill in mid, and relatively easy looking round for GX, or I guess for Sarah.
Sarah's like the one person who survives in Final Destination. It's like you see the paint pot hit by a piece of wood that looks like it's going to make something fall from the ceiling, and then at the end she's just like, oh yeah, no, somehow I've survived. It was a dangerous round, but she's not going to mind. Come out with 3 kills, moving closer towards that Viper Spear. Wow, you can see that there's definitely some fire and flare down on the stage. Of course, a victory here, giving them that opportunity to stay within the upper bracket.
I'll find you.
Doesn't look like there's going to be any easy games throughout this tournament. Well, what a start already for our starter, Sarah, once again in a little bit of trouble, but you never know, maybe that means the opponent's in trouble.
It often does. MIBR. Wow. They've put a lot of players towards B, giving up on that mid control, and hope here was that Lisa could contain that late round space,
Just a dry
maybe
peek,
play
by
the
the way.
lurk, but yeah, you were expecting to see something before a swing there. Toki now under a lot of pressure, but Eva's here to back her up. The flash as well going to be popped, and no swing. Toki isolated, at least manages one more, but the lurk up mid from Bastarda. Even on 30 HP, she's able to bring this into an advantageous spot, leaving Sarah alone, and Sarah wisely decides to try to isolate this fight, knowing there's only one player, but Melissa gets the better of her. A 3K for Melissa, and a third round for MIBR as a result.
A very good round from her individually. There was a lot of points of this where it felt like it easily could have swung back in the other's favor. A nice couple of bait plays, especially when you lose your lurk on the other side of the map. It's just some raw aggression, but she does well to steady the ship, isolating both players within the back of that B site and closing out the round in turn.
Boa, Melissa, caralho!
Putting herself up to the top of the board, and more importantly also getting that Nightfall online. There's still a buy here, but when you have that ult, it can be problematic. An early fight, and well, the trade's going firmly in the favor of MIBR.
Wow, there is next to nothing that Eva can do about this in a 1v3 other side of the map as well. That clock is going to be ticking. At this point, you just probably better off, as you say, just carrying that weapon forward to the next round. MIBR finding a lot of value with this incredibly direct take. And I mean, there were numbers here to defend it, but after losing this one, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a timeout pretty soon, because you're starting to think about Abyss, where MIBR built up so much momentum, where we saw them play slow rounds with success, and we saw them then play super direct, and it didn't seem like GX had the answer to the questions that MIBR were putting up, and now the stakes are a little bit higher. There's no longer another map to fall back on. There's no longer a second chance. It's It's map number 3. And it's a 4-1 lead for MIBR.
You can see what this squad is like incredibly good at. Like, you have those contact plays and then immediate faces from the remaining side. It means that any of these sort of traps that are being set up or any of that utility put into play, it's just so difficult to deal with. And every time somebody was trying to set up a response, they were just immediately dealt with on the other side. So aware, so prepared, and it's again the early round queen of Melissa that's taken over the server. 7-2 at the top of the board. When your Fade player's doing that, you're always going to be happy. But more importantly, they haven't had to use any of their ultimates while doing it. They have 3 currently online. Dimensional Drift only 1 away. Well, if you're doubting whether or not Bastardo will be able to get an orb or a kill, you're foolish. Now, there is the same for the other side. The issue they have is they don't have the finances. So already, as you said, an early enough pause for Asuka to try and come in and turn around this tide, because as you said, in the last map, if they had 1 or 2 extra rounds, it could have been very different. The same said, though, they won 2 of their 3 in the last 2 rounds. So it could have been, actually, we've closed this very quickly after the pistol if they didn't manage those late ones.
That's the thing as well when you think about what you just said, Tom. There's 3 ultis online for MIBR, and it's not like we're talking about From the Shadows and a Neural Theft. You have a Nightfall in play, and about to have a Yoru ult in play as well, the Dimensional Drift. Those 2 are going to get you onto sites. You then look at how you punish. Well, if you're on the site, you put your Viper's Pit down, or you use your Showstopper, whether it's getting into the site as a third option for entry, or whether it's
entry options are good.
You know, you can do anything with it. You can hold the site, you can take the site, and you can play for the post plant. So for MIBR, they're up against an eco as well. They could potentially have 3 rounds off the back of the eco, and then the ults, but they're going to play this safe, and oh, it's found so much value for SRN. 1 ulti committed. There's 1 on the other side, though. This is going to get a little spooky. Luckily, Paranoia has done its job. Sarah is taking down Sayori, and this is not quite as clean-cut as it seemed like it would be.
They managed to get another rifle. Sarah has found a kill. The problem is the amount of damage that was done already. It was a very nice attempt. And I don't think we came into that round expecting only 1 player to survive from MIBR, but it's one that, although costly, I don't think they'll mind too much because they traded out a lot of the opponent's ults while also using a couple of their own.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think Smurfette made the right call, right? In a round like that, you have the Showstopper, you know they're bursting out at that point, and you found the pick. That is 100% the right call. Really good work from Sayori to put through that Paranoia. What surprises me is the fact that MIBR used not only the Showstopper, but the Nightfall as well. And the Nightfall almost became a necessity because they lost so much space on the site to re-clear it. But it has cost them a lot. Now the Viper's Pit will be put into play in this round by the defensive side to cover off that mid control. But again, I look to MIBR. Massive advantage in this round. They find a lot of information here. The starter, TP's back, and now it's the A-take. If they get boots on the ground here, Viper's Pit goes up, and this becomes another round where MIBR seemingly have a chokehold.
Much damage. Eva's done well, but the damage isn't going to mean anything until Sarah swings.
Down A.
That's at least made things interesting.
No pit.
Ness had a rough first map, a fantastic second, and now seems to be struggling again in the third. And while Melissa, she has been deadly so far in this first half. Puts her 10th kill onto the board, and while with only Toki standing, sure, there's 2 very low HP players, those duelists, but look how far away she is. She is purely playing for the post. And even she'll expect that Toki's going to come looking for her. Like, you can't leave that player in the backline and look to try and win this round. And the second any contact is made, she'll look to go running, but instead, just the time bought alone is enough for Toki to have to fall back, and Melissa may even just execute her at the end. No, she will be allowed to escape, but at a 6-1 scoreline, I don't think MIBR will care too much.
And again, you could look at this and go, look how close it was, right? 16 and 20 HP. This could have been a completely different round, and Eva on backside was doing so much damage. Reality is, though, 6-1. Same old story, back to Abyss, where we looked at GX and said if they had just done a little bit more in those early rounds, and now we might be in the same boat again. It's time to show up, and time is running out as MIBR steam into the lead, build up that momentum, and by the way, still have the Viper's Pit because Sarah dropped a double kill that was, a part of that was Lisa, which meant they couldn't use that pit to secure the round. I think they're probably, in hindsight, pretty happy about that.
Well, once again. Oh, very happy. MIBR fans right now, and you can understand why. Their attack sides have been stellar all the way through this series. Nonetheless,
Spike down mid.
Ness will be able to find one. A return to form almost feeling necessary, and well, again, these early fights working out. SRN wants to try and take the battle and will win it at that. And although Sarah's definitely had some moments, actually she's found a rifle and will hear the steps going back the other way. If she gets the timing right here, Mitch, she might be able to catch them. This is potentially going to line up perfectly for her. She just has to hit the timing bang on.
They're watching her. Yeah, they're worried about it. That's absolutely perfect play. And SRN's even swinging back out on the back of her own nade. Pixel perfect. No notes for MIBR. 7-1 in the lead. And for what has been a close series, and even looking at the first two maps, it was GX taking the majority, or the round advantage, I suppose. They won 13-8 versus a 13-11 loss. And here, it seems like there is a clear victor already. A second timeout being called in by GX, coming into round number 9. They are panicking, and rightfully so. It seems like MIBR have a chokehold.
Yeah, I think they've also realized, though, that similarly to the last map, they know that they can pull out some numbers over on the attack side. That was always the case in the past when they played this map. And we've already seen it in the last one, but the problem is you do need that wiggle room. You need a chance you lose a pistol, that doesn't end the game. Last time, you have to bear in mind, the only reason that comeback even started was because they won a second round with classics. Like, you can't rely on that every single time. And for MIBR, as you said, they are currently reading the room almost perfectly. Like, when it comes to these direct, aggressive plays, the trades are on point. The reactive utility has been stellar. You mentioned the use of the paranoia. You mentioned how the Nightfall had to be used at times, but whenever they have used it, it always seems like it's had impact. And then you have some of the patience that we're seeing from players like Melissa, like sitting back in moments where there's no reason to be aggressive. Like, they have been fantastic on this attack. And GX have not been able to find any sort of response. This round, though, we're going to see them invest into that operator, a chance for Ness to maybe be that a little bit more aggressive, because thus far, Mitch, she has been struggling.
Now, this is an interesting setup to start with. 3 players on mid. You can already see that Ness is looking to ult in as soon as contact is made, but MIBR very passive there. It's instead towards Heaven that they look to fight. Bastarda already have a chance there to take down Toki. And it looks like now a redirect. Ness is going to ult onto the ramp, and they can immediately dive in on the back of it, but that was all a bait. Every bait and switch, a work of art for MIBR, but they lose one still. Ness able to find it with the operator, locking down mid, and now leaving MIBR without much choice. It looks like those 3 players will walk out. No! Smurfette at least gets one, and Toki somehow finds it through the wall.
Yeah, off the contact. That gave enough information, and what was initially going to be a take onto the A site and a TP from Sayuri. Now, she's probably quite happy that she's on the other side of the map, because there really isn't much space there at all. Any damage also able to be healed from that Sky, and it is looking like they're going to fall straight into a retake setup, especially with the way that the best B site plants normally have that opportunity for main. When you have the Cosmic Divide available for Toki, you can section that off. So if anything, MIBR are probably hoping someone will fight them here. And unless Sarah's thinking of taking a pretty hefty risk, which kind of is, we'll just wait instead.
I mean, they really have to drop the ball on this one. Bastarda and Sayuri, although the map may be favor to them with the streak of rounds, the advantage they have, for now at least. The odds are certainly stacked against them in this one. Time ticking, though. GX step out, all 4 from one angle. It's going to be an isolated fight. Bastarda does well with the first, but that is all she wrote. As a defuse inevitable now, Giant X finally landing themselves that second round. They've taken a while to show these signs of life, but better late than never.
Yeah, and they're going to look at this like, okay, if we can get this streak going now, 7-5, even an 8-4, might not be a death sentence. They've already proven that once. Much better looking round from them, and also just the calm within it. Not rushing into some of these fights, not taking the individual battles. That's what worked out for them. The problem, though, is whether or not MIBR are going to allow that to happen again, because this was sort of a bit more of a disjointed round. Some early aggression that failed, a back and forth of whether they should go A or not. When they've been direct, they've been really tough to beat.
It'll be a slow approach by MIBR, looking to make this a punchy round onto the A site.
Bring them down.
The pressure on the shoulders of Smurfette, 2 away from that showstopper being online again, but those picks won't come easy. Managed to slip into position, but that flash from the start, absolutely perfect. The A site crumbles within seconds, and MIBR, I love this, just going back to punchy plays at times that work wonders for this squad. Viper's pit, oh, look at the shape of that pit too. It has given them so much control, and
Face your fear.
not even sure they needed to do that, but really covering all their bases. The Nightfall's going to buy so much time that GX might even just save.
Yeah, they want to make sure that this round is confirmed. Don't want to give anybody an opportunity to try and clutch, and just making sure that this isn't going to slip away. And also you have to bear in mind, they are 2 away from a showstopper, 1 away from dimensional drift. There's not really a reason to have all 5 ults online, so confirming an additional one. Of course, the pit has faded as well, but they'll still have plenty to play with into the coming rounds, and making sure that 8 is confirmed is ever so important. But that round is pretty much all down to Basada. I'll say as well, just having the read when you've tried to clear something with a snake bite, but making sure that it's cleared, it's ever so important, because you're going to see Smurfette consistently try and make cheeky plays like that throughout the map. But they have caught her, I think, every single time she's tried to drop out of heaven. They have been so ready, so prepared for that sort of play, and she gets absolutely nothing. And the double duelist right now for GX, it's just not been their map. They have not been able to find the value that has been there on the other side.
8-2. I mean, it seems like a damning scoreline, but we said that on Abyss. You can hold your breath for these comebacks. Ness, oh, that pressure is huge! SRN diving in, that op shot hurt, and like a shark with blood in the water, she just swam straight in there, full speed ahead. Advantage for the attackers, but they haven't cleared the site just yet. Eva's there, but not for long. And the rope being taken is very well and truly heard.
Spike planted.
This one again has fallen apart. And for GX, the question of do they just carry this forward, look to fight the final round with the best weapons that they possibly can, or do they throw themselves into this with a chance for an 8-4 still there? It looks like that's the choice.
Smurfette showstopper available, but the same is there for the other side. SRN just playing up top, knowing that the time is on MIBR's side. An additional member to this squad, and while Smurfette can only go running to her demise, Toki has an opportunity on the site but gets absolutely nothing. 9 again over on this attack for MIBR. They are looking fearsome. And for GX, it does feel like the hope, the only hope that they have, is that they can match them on that attack side threat.
Now, the one thing I'll say for GX, you know, still with 9-3 being the best possible scoreline for them. Every time we cut to those cams, every time the round ends and they've lost it, you can see that even if it is an open and shut case, you'd never be able to know from the look on their faces. The morale certainly high, happy to be playing here on that stage in Seoul, but they need to find success here. They need that 9-3, and the showstopper, luckily countered by the refract. No kill found, but SRN still trading out on backside.
SRN has started to take over. A nice shot from Sarah. That's the spike down. SRN shut down as well, and by the looks of it, 9-3 is just the scoreline of the halves. Unless Lisa has something to say, but it is a 3-player stack up. He's going to try and create a little bit of additional space, but finding a freebie here seems impossible. There's at least a lot of time to play with, and that's the one thing that may start to get into the heads of the opponents. Becerra's watching, and Smurfette is immediately available for the trade. It will be 9-3 once again. GX at least with a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, a chance at the half still. Certainly after what we saw in Abyss, there's no counting them out, but this resurgence is going to have to be monumental for Giant X as MIBR lead 9-3. We'll find out who takes this series after the break. Well, your Coinbase Econ report really tells the story of that first half. SRN lighting up the scoreboard, but as usual, she wasn't alone in that affair.
No. I think Lisa and Melissa are both, again, having fantastic performances, but it's safe to say the story was definitely on one double duelist rather than the other. I think some of the supportive flashes we saw from Bastarda as well, now picking up that duelist. But it is going to be the tale of two halves. Can GX recover once again in the fashion that they did in the last? They look like they were going to take us to OT from almost a more damning position than we find them in now, but it really does rely on the pistol or the second round. I've got to say it at this point because we've seen a few second rounds go the other way, but they need a boost at the beginning of this half because from 11-3, there is very few teams I believe in.
That's very fair to say. I mean,
maybe there's one.
Even from 9-3. Yeah, I can't think of who that would be, Tom. But
NRG.
Fair enough. Fair enough. 9-3 is the scoreline for MIBR. This pistol, as you said, carries a lot of weight. For them, they can bounce back if they lose it. It's whatever. But for GX, this is do or die. At least it feels that way. Nice paranoia. That's so damning. Ness dives in and immediately she knows. The best she can do is probably damage as they run their way around the site, putting the pressure on. Sayuri still drawing breath in the end. It could be a flawless round, and indeed it will be. We said GX needed to win this one. They didn't even make a dent.
Oh, that was confident in the play, solid paranoia, but also just the crossfires that this team creates. It feels so difficult to break down, and while even with a split second to react, it was a wonderful opener. And Bastarda are able to add a couple more. We mentioned the fact that the second round was what brought them back from the depths last time about, but I don't think you can really hope for that every single time. In fact, look at the investment that's currently coming in for the side of MIBR. They're not messing about.
Oh, that damage is massive. And well, when you come into a round like that, you really got to hope that your opponents aren't set up on an angle together, playing on distance, on height as well. With a Guardian, that's pretty much a loss condition ticked for you there. 11-3. MIBR from this point, and as you said, Tom, there's very few teams that can make these kind of comebacks happen. We did see GX manage something similar, it was Abyss as well, you know, neither here nor there, whether it was harder or easier. Let's not compare the trauma. Let's just say it was a tough situation, and they managed to climb themselves back into within punching distance, but right now they are leagues apart.
And now without that lifeline, it really does feel damning. They're going to have an absurd streak of rounds once again, and MIBR are not looking to let them have anything. SRN has decided that it is time that this series is complete. And with already a couple to her name, 17 on the board overall. Needs a recovery. Eva will be able to at least put things back into contention. A lot of damage done onto Melissa as well, who will be forced to retreat. Sarah trying a lurk on the other side of the map. And I think she's been spotted. The fight not going to go away. Her doppelganger of a Viper taking her out. And now they'll have a player advantage going into this retake.
But no flank control for GX. Garage is a disaster waiting to happen, and so they decide to get a little bit aggressive ahead of the problem. As Eva's already walked through the spawn, in goes the Gravwell, and now Eva looking for this fight, presumably. I thought maybe Toki would go up, but no.
Paranoia.
Still down bottom and gets caught by Paranoia, deleted as a result, but Eva pulling them back into this, falls again. The final hurdle is what it comes down to. Running the race, they're GX, but miles behind, as MIBR leading now with just one left. So many chances. I mean, look, you come in here, we saw a streak of rounds for GX in the previous map, but if you come in and believe in 9 rounds in a row on the attack side plus OT victory, I don't think you've been watching much of MIBR.
No, I think as well that from Eva there, she's a little bit unlucky.
You guys are
just
so fucking bad, bro!
Give it to him.
Damn.
I got yous, okay?
That's what you love
Honestly,
to see.
what I need to see is what happens, what she'll say when they're up against Team Liquid. That will be the real conversation. The team that kicked you, but also you have to bear in mind for MIBR, this is a road that maybe it'll be slightly longer, but they are looking to make it back to the grand final. They did it last year, tasted defeat in the final match of the tournament. Of course, to Shopify. No one's surprised there, but they are looking to set their campaign off with a bang. SRN tagged up and will be executed. Melissa already into the site, but maybe a little bit ahead of everybody else. That's given a 2-player advantage. And well, maybe the start of what needs to be an impressive streak as one by one MIBR fall.
Spot planted.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, you talked a little bit about your 9-3. The 12-3 odds, I think it's fair to say, might be a little bit more heavily stacked against you.
Doctor Strange to come out.
If there's even one multiverse, or one
maybe
universe
John
where you get
QT,
this.
whichever one you are.
Yeah. 8 rounds in a row. For GX, they found their first of 9. It's a strong start, sure. But it really feels like an inevitability. And for MIBR as well, you got to think about what's on the line for them. You mentioned their loss to Shopify. Well, victory here means you get to face off against Shopify. A chance for a revenge arc, perhaps, for this squad.
I need to blow something up.
Send them down to lowers early, and if they manage to win this map convincingly, there is at least hope of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can say having this sort of like first map to get the flow state going on the stage may have benefits of its own.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think anybody's expecting Shopify to come in cold, but if MIBR come in hot, as they have for the starts of majority of these maps, like they have been really impressive. The last one ended up slipping away from them, but they still closed it out. This one, I don't think there's any slipping to be had. A weaker purchase. They've been playing it safe on a lot of occasions, not overly investing when they have these leads, but even still making them close. The starter has been a big part of that. She's been so irritating to play against. With already a player advantage, she might be able to get in and try and find them while behind. The danger is coming in from Toki, though.
Planted.
This definitely feels like the beginning of the end, but GX, they'll fight tooth and nail to try to take this across the line. Their second of the 9 in a row needed, now confirmed and locked in, but for MIBR, it only feels like a matter of time. Round on round as now the rifles come out, as ultimates will be online fairly soon for that defensive side. Correct me if I'm wrong, GX still have one timeout to work with, right?
I think they used both in the first
Oh, did they?
half. Yeah.
Okay. That's even worse.
I think they used one at like 4-1 and then one once they lost like a big streak of rounds.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I was going to say, like, it's kind of tough to figure out when you put that in here,
Yeah.
like when a round gets close or you see a
It's
gap.
when MIBR
But now you
choose.
just have to wait for MIBR to feel threatened. And that might take a while. They have still 7
Yeah.
rounds to work with.
Maybe they'll throw one in if a couple go the other way, but first we need to see a couple go the other way. It's aggressive from Nest. This failed last time, but succeeds this time. A good start to the round. Starter always pressuring the other side of the map, though. He's actually forced Sarah all the way back. The plant coming in, though. And this is going to be a very long rotation back. This one might be free if Sarah steps any further back, but it does mean that Bastarda has to walk. Now, the time that's being wasted may end up being worse if she doesn't find large amounts of value, but there is a good chance that she does.
Oh, walking by Sarah. But that might even be better with 2 players in main having no idea that their flank is wide open. SRN finding one, but here comes Bastarda. An easy first. The second comes with it. And a 2 versus 2. Still a chance, but time is ticking. They need to be quick, and they've already put it down to just 1. Sarah with GX's upper bracket life in her hands, and it slipped through her fingers. Defuse confirmed. MIBR have done it. 13-5.